I do see a lot of eggs here, so like all those little yellow dots are eggs. So like a butterfly's life does start as an egg. Yes, the butterflies lay the eggs themselves. It takes a butterfly only 2 seconds to lay an egg. A butterfly can lay. Oh yeah. Like a butterfly can lay within 20 to 600 eggs, depending on which type of butterfly it is.
That's a monarch.
It's a monarch, yes. Now, in nature, only 10 to 15% of our eggs will reach the butterfly stage because most of the eggs get preyed on. So they have to lay a lot of eggs to secure survival. It's just strength in numbers. Yeah, yeah. Only 10 to 15%. Now, the egg stage is only a week. They hatch the size of the egg, but they grow very quickly. Like this caterpillar, I would say, is already about 2 weeks old. This is the monarch butterfly caterpillar. Caterpillars are essentially babies. They eat, poop, and grow. That's what they do. Yeah.
Did you hear that, Hula? Eat, poop, and grow.
Yeah. And the larger the caterpillar, the longer the stage takes. It can take 2 weeks within 2 months. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The third stage, we have in those yellow cages. We call our nursery. Once a week, we scavenge for them in the garden and we pin them. That's a caterpillar, yes.
That's a caterpillar.
Yes.
Oh, that looks like one.
Yeah. Kind of looks like a slug.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah. So yes, we just find them in the garden, we pin them in there, we wait a month for them to hatch. Now during that stage, they're not active moving around, they're developing. It's like an incubation period. Yeah. The gestation period takes, it's okay. The gestation period takes about a month. And I kind of like to compare it to adolescence or puberty, it's just complicated. The butterflies and the moths hatch from those cages early in the morning. Butterflies tend to hatch with the rise of the sun. It's the safest time for them to hatch, and they hatch as full-grown adults. There's no baby butterflies, so they don't grow after hatching. They're full size. Like the big one on top there, that's a moth, which hatched this morning. It's called the Atlas moth. Oh, that one has expired. Yeah, yeah. It's it's not. It's just fertilizer. Now, that moth, it took a year to get to that stage.
Wow.
And now it will only like a week and a half. So
Oh,
we
wow.
wait a year to see it, and then we see it for a week and a half. Yeah. So you give it the right time to see it, basically. And the butterfly at the bottom, the beautiful black one, the swallowtail, also just hatched.
Where did only one go through? Oh, there it is.
And when they hatch, their wings are cold and wet. So that's why they instinctively will hang to allow the wings to spread and dry out. Yeah. It takes a whole hour before a butterfly takes first flight. And they're so
The one I
light,
want, I will never
they
get.
don't learn how to fly, so when they're ready, they'll just take off. And they'll start their adult responsibilities and duties, which takes about a month. Like 70% of all butterfly species will only live about a month. An exception can also be a day. Some butterflies live 22 hours. Like imagine you have a bad day, that's your only day. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, some butterflies can live for 10 months up to a year. You do have butterflies that live very long, but most of them will only live a month. That's the average lifespan. Also, I don't know if my colleagues mentioned this when entering. This mesh is UV treated, so it blocks off about 80% of the bad UV. So in the garden, you don't sunburn, but it gets very hot in here. Yeah, it gets very hot. Yeah. And so yeah, that's called an Atlas moth. That's a giant one, by the way. I would say that's its potential size, the biggest size that they can get. Yeah. We have 35 species here of butterflies, one moth species. If you add moths and butterflies together worldwide, you end up with 175,000 species. But only a tenth for butterfly, about 17,000 or so. And they're harmless. They don't have a mouth to bite or sting. They only drink from an organ that looks like a little straw. So a butterfly can only defend itself. They can camouflage, mimic. Some release a very bad smell, like a pheromone, like they can skunk predators. You do have poisonous butterflies, which are only poisonous if you eat them. I don't recommend eating any butterflies. If you're eating butterflies, I don't recommend eating the brightly colored ones. Like the monarch that I just showed you is a poisonous butterfly because they feed from a plant called milkweed. And milkweed is a poisonous plant. Butterflies don't hatch poisonous, they become poisonous based on what they eat. And there's a way to tell if a caterpillar is poisonous. Yellow, red, or orange stripes. They're poisonous. 2/3 of the time they're poisonous. The other third are just caterpillars trying to look like poisonous caterpillars. I ate one as a kid and I learned my lesson, so I guess now you don't have to. Yes. My defense is it looked like a gummy worm. I should try it. Big mistake. Just vomit it all day. I recommend never touching furry, hairy, spiny caterpillars. They can give you a skin rash, and these are mainly like moth caterpillars, like gypsy moths, woolly bear caterpillars, saddleback caterpillars. They can give you a very bad rash. I don't recommend touching them, even though some people are immune to them. Like especially the woolly bear. If you touch it once, you never get the rash twice. Once your immune system produces antibodies, you don't get the rash anymore. That's why it's funny. Some states have what's called Woolly Worm Festival. They have all festivals surrounding woolly worms. They put them next to each other. They raise them. It's pretty funny. Oh, she might land on me now. Like I've seen this in Boone, in North Carolina. It's pretty funny seeing grown men just scream at caterpillars. In my opinion, it's just a good old time. Oh, they're harmless. They don't do anything. The least that they can do is tickle. And if they do land on you, it's because they want your sweat. Yes, they drink your sweat and they use your sweat as cologne. So they will bottle your sweat and use it later on to attract other butterflies. Yes. Yes, salts and minerals can be converted into chemicals. And some caterpillars also look like bird food, because if you look like your main predator's food, you don't get preyed on. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they just eat, poop, grow, and shed. That's what caterpillars do. I do want to show you the monarch chrysalis because to me, it looks like a jade stone. It doesn't look like a living thing.
Oh wow.
We actually pass the pin through the silk the caterpillar uses to attach the leaf. So the caterpillar attaches the leaf and hangs upside down, where it will shed, shrink down, and then unveil this last layer of skin it uses to enclose itself. This skin is made from a protein called chitin, which is almost similar to keratin, like our fingernails. Like crabs, their shell is made from the same material. It basically goes from an egg to a caterpillar to almost an egg again, which is funny. Like in this stage, what's amazing is that 90% of a caterpillar's body breaks down into, you can call it DNA soup if you will. But the organism retains the caterpillar's brain and a big portion of its nervous system, which allows it to retain genetic memory and encoding. So it stays alive as the organism, but it dies as a caterpillar. I am going to spare you the biology lessons, but in biology they call this apoptosis, a programmed cell death, which also occurs within our skin cells. This is how our skin renews itself. Yeah. The caterpillar's body breaks down due to the enzymes going through a chain reaction, and then its cells die. But the butterfly cells become active and start feeding from the cells of the caterpillar. So the organism goes from auto-cannibalism phase. It kind of feeds off what it used to be. And then those cells end up beginning the cell life cycle and starting mitosis. The cells divide, differentiate, construct the body of the butterfly, but use the brain and nervous system of the caterpillar. Basically, the caterpillar and the butterfly have the same brain and nervous system, just a different body. Yes. Like, my parents would have loved it if I went to that during my teenage years. I probably wouldn't have crashed my dad's car when I was 15. They probably wouldn't have found the butterfly plants that was growing in the backyard. There's a whole bunch of stupid things you learn as when you become an adult. It's weird because it's like a caterpillar, or let's say, imagine you turn 13, you're going to puberty, now you have to make your cocoon. And then for the next 5 years until you're 18, you just turn into soup. When people come over, your parents have to explain that he's just in his room developing. We just come and spray him down once or twice a day so it doesn't dry out. And then when you're 18 or 22, you're a full-grown adult, now you can fly out of the house. You just have to remember to visit from time to time. Yeah. Yeah. And there's 3 things that you should know that butterflies do, and they call this the courting process. If you see one butterfly flying on top of the other one, that's a female butterfly doing a quality check on a male butterfly, which is called the first date. There's often 3 dates. Since she's bigger, she's dominant, she courts him. He's smaller, but with more beautiful colors and patterns to attract her, like birds. So she checks for symmetry, if he's intact, has all the beautiful colors and patterns and whatnot. The second date is if you ever see 2 butterflies chasing each other, the female flies away from the male, he chases her. Every time he gets close, she does quick maneuvers, and then he will have to perform these maneuvers to keep up with her. It's kind of a test of strength and endurance. And the third date, if you see 2 butterflies circling each other, they're doing a dance. And often the male butterfly performs a dance for the female. She does an evaluation and then she'll dance with him. So that's how they fly in circles. And the courting only takes half an hour or so. And so yeah, of course you have to do a little dance before you can make a little love, and then you get down. And the way the butterflies copulate, she'll allow him to attach to her, but when she attaches to him from the abdomen, he cannot let go. So if danger arrives, she'll carry herself and him around. And pardon my stupid joke, but he's along for the ride. Yeah. And the ones that live a month have such a small window of time to live that they often mate once. They remain monogamous. She courts him, he impresses her. He will have to fertilize all of her eggs. It can take 20 minutes or it can take up to 18 hours without stopping or taking breaks. Which to you might sound impressive, to me it sounds very tiring. I am going to allow the adults to do the adult jokes for me, so you can let your imagination do it. But they have to be efficient, but if they live longer, they can mate multiple times. Once they detach, her eggs are fertile, she'll find her plant by using her smell receptors in her antennae. Butterflies smell with their antennae, taste with the bottom of their feet. They see in ultraviolet and they have a vision of 360 degrees. So the little tiny brain processes all of this information. She finds her plant and lays eggs, and she'll dedicate her life to laying eggs, especially if they live a month. The higher number of eggs, the higher number of offspring, it will increase their survival, yes. Basically, she spends her life laying eggs, and they're independent the moment that they lay the eggs. So the moment the egg is laid, they're independent from the start. And that's how the cycle just starts all over again, basically. And if you ever have the time and space, you want to help butterflies at home plant native endemic plants that grow in your state or in your country. You can also plant this plant. Now some states they're stricter to grow it because it can become invasive. If you prune it, it doesn't become invasive. Have you ever heard of butterfly bushes? They have the long stems with purple flowers. Yes. And they attract a lot of butterflies. You can also plant like hydrangeas, lantana, lavender. And the butterflies go to the flower, drink nectar, and then the pollen gets transferred by the butterflies. It's like a win-win-win situation. Butterflies are pollinators. If you put fruits out, you're not going to attract butterflies, you're going to attract rodents. We put fruits out because we have rainforest butterflies, and we allow the fruits to stay out for a couple of days to allow the fruit to ferment, and it makes the butterflies drunk. So we have a lot of drunk butterflies here as well. Yeah. The beautiful blue ones you see flying around, the blue morpho butterflies, which are from Costa Rica, I call them functioning alcoholics. They get drunk but stay active. They're like my dad and my uncle. But we do cut them off because we're still responsible bartenders. After 3 days, we cut them off. Yeah. Oh, and believe me, if I explain everything I know about butterflies, I'll bore you for the next 3 hours. I won't put you through that. I'll only do that in an air-conditioned room, by the way. Yeah. Any questions about butterflies, the garden? If you have questions about Aruba, maybe you don't have to think of it right now. You can also think of it and answer later. Ask later.
Yeah, we see a lot of butterflies by the ocean too. There's a lot of them.
Here?
Yeah.
Yes, those are monarchs.
Oh.
The orange ones, you mean?
Yeah, I think they were orange. I don't remember the color, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, because our milkweed grows also by the beaches. So they go to the milkweed, lay eggs. That's why they always by the beach.
Oh, they lay the eggs by the beach?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, by the milkweed, by the beach.
Interesting. But not on plants, right? Do they let them on the sand or
Oh
how?
no, they lay it on the milkweed, on the actual plant itself.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
okay.
Of course, if you think of any questions, you can always ask. By the way, when wandering, please watch out for drunk butterflies resting on the sand. Drunk butterflies like to hang out in the back.
There's a
corner.
lizard
Right
over
back
there.
corner, that's where they hang out. And stay hydrated is very important. Always important to at least be in the AC at least 2 to 3 times a day. It does get very hot. And again, thank you very much for the attention. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And